This meeting back to order. The next item on the agenda in person is David Testa with the Rover pipeline project.
Good morning, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you this morning and to provide you with information, status report essentially, of the Rover pipeline project. If you may, I'll give you some cards of some of the other individuals who are here today on behalf of the project.
Okay.
Again, my name is David Testa. I am here as a local government representative on behalf of the project. It's my job to provide the counties and the local municipalities where the project will be located with information on any questions that you may have as the commission, and also as your constituents bring those questions before you. It's my job to provide all that information to you as needed. I would like to introduce, though, some of the people who are here. Susan King back in the corner, she's also a local government contact. And we have Sharon Carter and Daniel Dew. They are with Wilbrose Engineering, and their task on this project is for project road permitting to make sure that the roads are properly bonded and that they have the approval to access those roads. And then also we have in the front here Mr. Craig Wurzbacher. He is the right-of-way and lease agent for this project in this area. I would like to, the packets, I also have some packets I'd like to give you that have information that I'll be speaking from this morning, so you have everything there. And again, as you go through that information, and you yourselves have questions, or you share that with the public and they have questions, I'm the person to address those to get answers. I'll try to keep this brief but complete. The pipeline itself, called Rover Pipeline, it's an interstate pipeline of approximately 710 miles. Doddridge County is the southern extent of this new proposed pipeline that will traverse Doddridge County in about a total of about 15 miles, and then it will go into Tyler County and skirt just the very tip of Wetzel County, and then as it crosses the Ohio River into, I think it's Monroe County, Ohio. As I said, about 15 miles in Doddridge County, there's two spurs, if you will, that will be located, will meet at a proposed compressor station to be located. I was told that will be near Morgan Run Road and Route 50, where there's an existing, I believe it's a Mark West processing station. There'll be a new compressor station. This project is just natural gas. There's no liquids associated with this line. So all the liquids will be processed or be taken out at existing facilities. So it'll be nothing new to process liquids. The one spur that will start it's called the proposed Sherwood compressor station. It will go about 6 miles to the northeast, and then the rest is about 9 miles to the northwest. So it comes to a V basically at the compressor station. As I said, this is a 710-mile interstate pipeline, which is important to know because that means that it is governed and needs approval through the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC. The application that's called a Certificate of Necessity, beyond what you would think of requirements or issues that have to be addressed, beyond environmental impacts and things like that and road impacts, there's economic aspects. There's they need to look at alternative routes to make sure that they considered the best route with the least intrusive on many fronts. So that application was just filed for the project about a week ago, and it is available publicly on the FERC website for inspection of the documents filed and also any comments that anyone from the public may want to make. You don't have to go through your body, government body, but anybody can make a comment. There have been, prior to the filing of the application, there were a couple of, they called scoping meetings in West Virginia. I think the closest one for here might have been Haddon City. Yeah, I believe that might have been the closest one. There was also a couple of open houses. I don't know if anybody may have, that was basically from last summer to the end of this year is when all that took place. It's the overall capital project expenditures expected to be about $3.7 billion for the whole project. The tax benefit to the state of West Virginia right now is approximately $147 million on an annual basis. I'm sorry, I take that back, I'm sorry. For West Virginia, it's about 3.9 million. The overall project is 147. For West Virginia, it's about 3.9 million. And if you were to just look at the county of Doddridge, you could expect in the neighborhood of about $1 million of tax revenue per year from this project. I have maps here that will show the aerial extent as it's laid on an aerial map, so you can see where the actual pipeline right now route is proposed. And I can leave that with you for, like I said, for your benefit and for the public's benefit. This is a state-of-the-art pipeline, meaning it will have monitors that will monitor a lot of the different aspects of operation, meaning the flow, temperatures, pressures, things that people will be watching 24/7 to make sure that there's no anomaly. And if something seems to be not quite right, somebody will be dispatched immediately to investigate that. We're working with, or we obviously want to work with the school board and their transportation group to make sure that we can adhere to any restrictions on roads as they are used for school bus transportation. We also have been and willing to meet with your emergency management folks to provide them any information and training that they think they might need on behalf of this project. So it's it's a pipeline that begins, or southern extent is West Virginia, but it goes up through the main line of it goes through almost the entire diagonal of the state of Ohio into Michigan, where it meets up with an existing pipeline that carries gas into Canada. It's kind of funny, Canada actually is a little gas short. So we're providing, they give us oil, we give them gas. So it's a large project, a large investment, and the Rover pipeline project and the company that is behind this is called Energy Transfer. They are very interested in making sure that all the local governments and the public of the impacted area is aware of what the status of the project and to work with them to answer any questions and work through any issues that you might want to talk about. So, like I said, I can leave you with some maps. This is actually a fairly nice set. There's two because, as I said, one is for the one branch and the other's for the other. And where that little yellow sticker is where it begins for you, because it actually starts in, or it has Tyler County in there as well. So, but it shows you exactly where that's going to be located. And these are, it's in the packets. This is a different kind of map. where they have topographic maps as well, just to show the elevations and things like that. And that's a pretty nice little map there that shows the extent of the entire project and how much is in each stage. But as I said, it's a lot to take in right now. I don't expect you to be able to pour over this in the 30 seconds that you have, but as I said, as you go through this and as people have questions, please direct us to me and I will be happy to answer anything I can.
Okay. You said that you would entertain questions from the public?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
It's open to the, and you can identify who you want to.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I was wondering if you had the number, you said you filed with FERC last week. Do you
Yes.
have the reference number on
Yeah,
that?
the FERC, do you have that handy? The FERC docket number, I know it changed.
CP
Yeah, see?
15-93-000.
Yeah,
3 zeros?
yeah, 93,000.
Okay, the other question I have is, the origin point is in Doddard County. I was wondering if you had any plans to have a public meeting in Doddard County.
There, with the filing of the FERC application, there is a, part of their process is to issue a draft environmental impact statement. And as part of that process, FERC can, it's up to them to decide or to make the decision whether or not to hold a public hearing at any location.
Right, that's not really what I'm asking. As a good citizen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, your company having an informational meeting for the public would definitely be advantageous.
Mhm.
An open house or whatever, so the public can actually meet with you guys
Mhm.
one-on-one and ask several questions, you know,
Right.
and just have the exposure.
Sure.
You've had the meeting in Payton City, which makes it difficult for people in this community
Right.
to attend, and I believe some of these meetings were held last year, some during the summer.
Right.
And then the other question I have is, you stated no liquids would be
Right.
going through this line, so
Right.
what exactly, is it going to be methane?
Yes,
What's-
just natural gas. The
What
gas.
form?
Yeah, methane, ethane. You know, to the extent that the ethane, most natural gas, even the hottest, if you will, natural gas, has a little bit of ethane in it, but it's in a gaseous form. Everything would be in a gaseous form.
The other question I have is, what size will this pipeline be that will be going
Sure.
through Doddridge County?
The one branch, the 5-mile branch, if you will, I believe is 22-inch diameter, 20-inch diameter. 24, I'm sorry, and then the other branch is 36-inch diameter. Now, as far as your question on the meetings, I will take that back to the folks who,
Actually, if I could answer that.
yeah, I'm sorry.
All of the formal public meetings were held last summer, last fall. There have been over 600 meetings that have taken place. And so from the major public ones, we're kind of tearing down now to meet with individual commissioners, counties, and the townships where applicable.
But no meetings were held in Doddridge County?
That's correct.
No meetings were held in Doddridge County?
No formal public open houses were here. They're done on a regional basis. And just for a correction point, this isn't the origin of the pipe. This is a lateral that comes into Doddridge County.
Yeah, it actually terminates or into another existing pipeline.
Correct.
If you look on the map, it kind of looks like it ends, but that's the project end. It actually hooks into another existing pipeline in Doddridge County. So it's not the origin of it, if you will. It's a supply line from taking directly from the wells up to the main line. The main line goes through Ohio, and there's going to be 2 lines through Ohio, 42 inches in diameter each. Yes, let's get this.
Okay, what's the startup date on?
Good question. We're hoping that the FERC application will be issued before the end of not application, but the certificate of necessity will be issued before the end of 2015. with construction slated right now, the beginning of 2016, so sometime about a year from now.
So,
Yes.
are you acknowledging me? I don't want to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
anyone, okay. So is it my understanding with the FERC application that an environmental impact statement has been done for this line? You said a certificate of need.
Right, we
but-
provided all the environmental information as part of the application. FERC now takes that and does their own, essentially, environmental impact statement to see if they agree with the results that the project supplied. So there will be a FERC-issued environmental impact statement.
I have another, it was my understanding, I had looked at the maps you guys had over at the library, that part of this, 1V of this is up on top of a compressor station that's on the top of Flint Hill, Big Flint Hill. Then that traverses and goes to the Mark West plant. Now, is a new compressor station being built in addition to what's already at the Mark West plant to push this gas through?
Correct.
Is this a completely, and what
It's separate
volumes?
from the Mark
Okay,
West station,
and-
if you will.
And what volume of gas will the pipeline be transporting on a daily basis? How many cubic feet
Yeah.
or whatever?
I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that answer for this particular location or for this area, but overall, I think I said it's 3.25 billion cubic feet, per day of domestically produced natural gas. So now that's all the wells, but like I said, in particular for this area, I can find out that answer, but I don't know that off the top. So.
One more question and then I'll clam up. The gas that your line will primarily be transporting, is there a particular company whose gas you will be primarily transporting, like Antero, EQT, or some of the other producers we have in our region?
Right, and that's one thing to know, and it's a good question, that this is a pipeline. This is not to put more wells in for the Rover project. These are for wells that are existing and wells that are projected for folks like Antero, EQT, Williams, whomever it might be. But I don't know who they've signed up yet for this, but I would imagine all three of those are probably suppliers to this pipeline. Yes, Susan? You might know.
Just to clarify that point, an interstate natural gas pipeline system is basically an interstate highway or say Federal Express, so that we don't control the gas, but somebody will, put in the box, if you will, the box that goes onto the pipeline, and then somebody takes it out. So it moves, and as many people as there is capacity for can sign up for a long period of time or for a short period of time. But to David's point, we don't have the exact references for companies that may be using that pipeline at this point. But it functions like an interstate where you can get on and get off if you pay the fee.
Yeah.
As part of the scoping process for the FERC certification and background that you were speaking of, part of that is an open season where the company solicits bids to carry gas through the pipeline. And FERC, the governing agency, looks at those bids and says, is there a need for this pipeline? Is there enough capacity of this pipeline, and is there demand to move gas? And through that process, Rover Pipeline has pre-sold all capacity for the next 15 years. So there is a need.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the blast radius on these lines?
Sorry, what?
If they should happen to rupture, what is the blast radius on the lines?
Craig, do you have any idea about that?
First of all, every molecule of gas that goes in this pipeline is accounted for, because that's how the company gets paid. And they want to know how much gas goes in at one end and comes out on the other end. And there's safety valves, shutdown valves, automated, manual, all along the route of the pipeline. There's a SCADA monitoring center. To estimate a radius of potential breach and what may or may not happen, that's beyond the scope of my training and education. I'm not an engineer to say what that might be. But it's,
Again, that's a piece of information we can get to you, or an answer we can.
You can run it on the computer if you have the volume.
Yeah,
And the size of
depending
it.
on how much gas,
Right,
did
yeah.
the valves work, did they?
What the pressure is at the time. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned SCADA and some other terms. Now, I'm rather curious as to how many valves are going to be present through Doddridge County as far as having the possibility of shutting down the line in case there's an explosion. And the reason I ask this question is because of the explosion that occurred, pipeline explosion that occurred in Brooke County, West Virginia in January, I believe. That line had only been in service for 1 year.
Again, I can supply that information to you on what the proposed distance is between each valve set within the county of Doddridge. I will get that to the commissioners.
Because you're also, you're going under, I believe, when maps I looked at, you will be going under, I believe, Route 50, our major
Yeah,
highway or whatever, twice, if I'm not, if I'm correct.
yeah,
Once going into the
Right.
Mark West plant and then coming out of it. And we have all of our schools are along the Route 50 corridor. The nearest one to the Mark West plant would be our elementary and middle school. And we've already had situations with the Mark West plant where the highway was shut down for several hours because there was an episode or an incident at the plant. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, that's a part of what Sharon and Dan are doing is to make sure that the engineering that goes into that is sufficient so that to minimize to the greatest extent possible that from happening.
another question, are you going to invoke eminent domain since the gas in this line is going into Canada?
We don't have that capability at this point.
Thank you.
Sure.
There are multiple distribution points for the gas. Some of it may wind up in Canada, yes, but it also may circle back around the Great Lakes and come back into upstate New York and be distributed in New York City and Boston areas, the northeastern corridor. So this is a gas line that's going to supply the Midwest, Illinois, Detroit with the gas they need for heating and domestic and commercial use. So there are other distribution points, three outside of Canada.
Yes, sir.
Two quick questions. Mayor, I took mine off eminent domain. I was going to ask about eminent domain, seeing as it is classified as an essential project. The ramifications of that designation in regards to eminent domain for landowners within the county. The second question is expected longevity. I know 15 years was said that you got it already booked for 15 years.
Right.
What's the expected longevity total?
I believe this is at least a 50-year project is what typically these are looked at in terms of viability. Your other question, as I said, we don't have the eminent domain capability at this point. My understanding is though, however, that if that the project can apply for it, okay? And you know that better than I do,
Right.
being the right-of-way agent.
Under the FERC process, Rover has applied for the certificate of conveyance, and it has not been awarded to us. So we are out here, contrary to some of the public information, we are out here to negotiate in good faith with any stakeholder that's affected by the pipeline. In fact, agents are on the ground talking to landowners that are directly impacted by the pipeline in your county right now to negotiate an easement agreement. So have we applied for the certificate? Yes. Has it been awarded to us? Can I predict if the federal government will award it to us? No. It's up to them.
Last question would be in regards to longevity. Once again, any potential reclamation. Is reclamation addressed in the FERC documents and long-term shutdown and
Yeah, reclamation of pipeline right-of-way is addressed in the first application. As far as, the actual compressor stations and things like that, because I think there's one in the state of Ohio, one in the state of Pennsylvania as well. That's all contained in the application information, so that would be the best place to look for that.
The tax implications for Doddridge County.
Yes, sir.
Those would be, that would be, once the pipeline is completed.
Yes.
And if you're going to start in 2016, we could anticipate probably 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, the service date, I believe, in the fact sheet has, it does speak to that, I believe.
It would begin to be in
I think it was
service at
the end of 2016.
Correct, and so the first year of in-service would be 2017,
Okay.
is expected.
At this point.
Okay. That's an important fact for the county commission to know.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
We're just about
Yeah,
to
when
go
you, sure.
into our budget process.
Yes,
but-
yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
How much are you paying per foot for the right of way?
But that depends
Yeah.
on the nature of the property, how many crop damage, trees are involved, so everybody's final compensation is gonna be different and negotiated individually. So, we are basing it initially on appraised value, that has been done by a certified, independent appraiser, that's familiar with comparable properties, agricultural, industrial, residential in this area. And in certain cases, we will appraise trees, crops, what have you, to come up with that number. But, it's not a standardized rate at this point other than appraised value.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much again.